Hello, Chatfish, and welcome to a surprise little bunch cast on a Sunday. I figured we'd cover some of these controversies because they're kind of funny and they're kind of goofy, and some of them are kind of serious as well. Mostly because in the games industry, there's all sorts of games. Some of them good, some of them bad, some of them ugly. But sometimes you get those cases in which you get really good games that have some ugly in them and have some bad in them. And this happens from time to time, and it's worth talking about because we see this happen pretty much all the time throughout, I think, the last decade or so, where you'll get a game where it's like, this is really good, and then it has a section where it's like, or you'll be playing like the Amazing Spider-Man game or whatever the fuck we were playing, Spider-Man 2, and then it goes on a diatribe about like guns being bad for 15 minutes. Like, guns are bad. We should replace guns with a compliment store for complimenting people. And it's like,
the compliment club instead of, the
it's
evil
just,
gun club.
it's so bad. It's like, it's really bad writing, right? And this ugly moment, this ugly, can ruin what was or what could be a good game. Now, the real question we always have to ask ourselves is to what degree, right? Some games, it's ugly to the point where it's unbearable, right? Life is Strange is one such game. Life is Strange is so ugly that playing it is actually cancer. And as you guys have made me play through it multiple times now, I have a very high tolerance for ugly, thanks to you guys. So, thank you, I guess, is what I should be saying. But the other thing that is worth mentioning is that ugly should never be shied away from, right? If you like a game and there is something ugly about that game or bad about that game, it's important to be truthful and honest. It's important to highlight those things because while the game may be good, while the game may be worth picking up, it still has a black mark. And it's important when giving critique that we are honest in how we do this. And this brings up the topic of grifting and all this stuff, and we're not going to get into specific individuals because if I could, the list would be longer than the list of people that are good, because grifters will just come in and just, milk a subject or basically, pour gas on the flames just because they're here to watch the world burn. And, well, that's what they do. That's their prerogative. I, as a gamer, am more interested in the quality of a game. Is it good? Is it worth my time? Is it not worth my time? I don't really care about anything else. If there's politics in it, I prefer it to be not contemporary, like modern bullshit. I'd rather it be based on the, video games in-universe world and not some straw man, but, sometimes we don't always get that, right? And so, when it comes to Kingdom Come 2, Kingdom Come 2 has been caught with some, what we'd say, woke elements in this game. And they are woke elements. We're not going to pretend that they're not, because that's what they are. They use verbiage and words, not just in these woke parts. And these woke parts, by the way, are minor. It is important to note that. They are so incredibly minor because after being 20 hours through the game, I have not seen a single woke element in the game. The biggest bait and switch of my goddamn life. I swear to God. But yeah, so the big thing here to take away is that when it comes to it, the elements of wokeism in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is specifically having a random black dude in Bohemia. That's just not something that probably happened at all. Like, it's just a bit nonsensical. An Arab, yeah, more believable. An Arab merchant, maybe. Maybe a Muslim merchant. It's a little bit ridiculous because of how far away they are, because people did not travel that far. And there's a lot of historical revisionism going on right now. Like, oh, people traveled from London to, fucking Paris on a day-to-day basis. No, they didn't. They did not. That's like nobility, maybe, but like no.
Merchant caste at most.
The regular people did not travel that far. Don't fucking do that. There's so many historical revisionists that do this shit. They do not travel that far, right? And so, having a black Muslim here is, in my opinion, it is wokeism. It is, I think, the only wokeism in the game. Well, there's actually, I think, a couple points I think we can probably talk about. I think there are 3 points that I know of. And you can always add more to these based on what I've discovered from researching other people's research, because they're way further into the game or they data mined the game. Because after being 20 hours in the game, I couldn't find a sliver of this stuff, and so I was very baffled when I saw the game getting bombarded by people who I thought liked good games. And I was like, what? This game's fucking awesome. I don't really get what's going on here. Yeah, exactly, Frank. The likelihood of a black Muslim past Damascus is 0.0001, yes. honestly, if they wanted to be like pull the black card, they could have done this more interestingly. Pull a Coptic Christian. That would be so goddamn funny. Because the Coptic Christians were the black people who were basically like beat up and bullied by Muslims the most. So it's funny that Islam, one of the most horrific religions in human history, and treated, you know, so poorly, they choose that. But yeah, no, the black character should have been an Arab. And the second thing when talking about the this whole incident, not only should they have been an Arab, but when people talk about how the Muslim character berates Christianity, this is actually historically accurate. Well, the big thing being is Muslims are kind of like, at this point, pretty shitty. They're not going to be very nice. They're not going to look at Christians with a sort of an equal lens when it comes to it. Not all the time. There are some people that did, right? That had some modicum of respect, but not always. Definitely not always, right? But the big thing here is that you would not really see them. What's the word? Christians would not react positively to that. Now, you could argue, because this is something when you talk about historical stuff, right? When he talks about, because the character in question, we don't have like a picture here, but sadly, but the character in question, when they talk about it, they talk specifically about how they are more advanced in medicine and like astronomy and sciences and stuff. That's true. That's actually true. For a while they were, because the Dark Ages that hit the Western Roman Empire hit it harder. Remember, history matters, right? So when the Roman Empire fell, it split into two, the East and the West. The West fell first and fell to barbarians like the Lombards, the Langobards, and the fucking Saxons and the Franks, etc., the Visigoths. And so basically, a lot of that information didn't initially perish, but over time, those new fledgling kingdoms that were born from the ashes of this empire could not maintain those infrastructure projects, those agricultural projects, and all those things, because they didn't have the finances to do so. And because they didn't have the finances to do so, what happened was that generationally that knowledge was lost. As that knowledge was lost, they regressed backwards. Period. That's no real like. I know there's a lot of historical revisionism in that, like the Dark Ages weren't that bad. It's like, fuck off. Like, they were really bad.
They're called the Dark Ages for a reason.
And so the West regressed traumatically after the collapse of the Roman Empire. However, in the East was a bastion called the Eastern Roman Empire, and this would remain relatively stable and relatively knowledgeable. However, what stole that knowledge and information? The Arabs that came from basically the Saudi Arabia Peninsula, the Arabian zone, that basically waged war against the Zoroastrians and the Orthodox Christians, and basically waged war against the Eastern Roman Empire, stole a lot of their knowledge from the Zoroastrians and the Eastern Roman Empire. And that knowledge is what gave them their astronomy, which gave what gave them their mathematics. It's what gave them all this information, right? This is how they got to be advanced. But unfortunately for them, their culture is built on conquest and enslavement. And so that is why, when you look at the history in the Chronos, as time advanced forward, the West recovered and rebuilt and regained its strength and reformed itself and found itself yet again. But in the East, where the Roman Empire had collapsed and where the Sassanid Empire had collapsed, the Muslims didn't progress. They were stuck. They were in a spot in which they couldn't progress because they had basically gotten so used to taking from others that they didn't have a culture of creating. And it's this lack of innovation, this lack of creation that sort of stagnated them. Now, there's a lot more that goes into that, and then eventually the West, surpasses them and gets gunpowder, and things just really escalate from there. But you know what I'm saying. Like, we can get into the details of the collapse of the Roman Empire, and we'd be here all day, right? We're just going to sum this shit up because I don't want to be here forever. But yeah, so that's basically that. And this is set in 1403. This is at the cusp of the Renaissance period. The Eastern Roman Empire's last cities have yet to fall. So they're still holding on, because I think it's set in 1403, and I think 1446 or something like that was the ballpark of the collapse of Constantinople, the fall of Constantinople. That would see a massive amount of information flee the tyranny of Islam and flee towards Italy. And that would help fuel what was already going on, which was the Renaissance. And that fuel would then in turn help spark the West to basically ignite their dreams and their ambitions, to launch them and propel them to surpass, the East massively. So yeah, at this point, his behavior and being a prick is canonical. It's canonical. Him being black is wrong. He should be an Arab. Period. It's not a debate. It's not a discussion. That's how it should be. It's debatable, in my opinion, that he's even in the game, but that's just me, right? There's another point of contention when it comes to for this game, when it comes to the what's the word? The child, quote unquote, allegations or whatever. And the reality is that medieval times were not pleasant. Children having sex underage, it's gross, I know. It's repulsive. But that did happen. It's unfortunate, but that's historically accurate. There are a lot of historical inaccuracies in this game, though. Like using the word of avalanche, using the word, I think, anti-Semitism for a quest. And I know we're focusing on these things, but I want to point out how minor these things are in this game. Because this is the whole point of this conversation. These 3 things that I know of do exist, but they're incredibly tiny.
Do you find it funny that they're bringing up anti-Semitism when no one liked the Jews during this time period?
No, they weren't liked at all, for the most part.
They were reviled.
So there's a couple of historical points that are rather spicy, and for me saying this, chat, you need to donate lots of money to support me, your local kib. But there's a couple points in certain nations, like Castile's history, if I remember right, where they expelled their Jewish population, and it so happens, that it coincided with their golden age. So I'm just saying that there is a historical precedent for certain things happening, and there's definitely a different tone. 1453 was the fall? Thank you. My brain's a little bit off when it comes to dates. Appreciate the help. Ouch.
What happened?
Hold on a second. But yeah, a lot of, also, the fabrication things. See, I haven't even gotten to that plague. And you talk about embarrassing yourself, you little shit. You little sassy fuck. He says the characters that were based off were underage during the period, but the characters themselves are not. Those people, Henry and Hans, are 27 years old. Yes. In this game, the characters that you can have to have gay sex, which I don't even know how you do that, because Henry and Hans in this game are the most heterosexual motherfuckers I've ever seen in my entire life.
They're fucking horn dogs, what they are.
They talk about tits so much, it's not even funny. I can't even joke. Like, it's just, it happens so much that I didn't even know there was a gay thing in this game. And it apparently requires, like, a serious amount of, like, weird things you have to do in order to even get that to trigger. So, if it's an option, I'm not really offended by it. The only thing I'm actually offended by are things that aren't necessarily options, that are more so mandatory. That's more upsetting. Like, for example, carrots. Carrots in this period were not orange, right? I know it's a minor detail thing, but chat brought it up the other day when we were playing this. They should have done the research a bit better. Carrots, I don't think, became orange until like a century later. I think at this point they were sort of gray or white or whatever. And it's the little details like that, because it's actually fascinating when you actually do historical things. Like, they shouldn't use the word avalanche. Avalanche isn't a word that even existed at this point, if I remember right. I believe it was avalanche. And there's other terms that they just use that are modern. And I get that the writers probably were maybe in over their heads with the amount of work they had basically bitten off, but they really shouldn't have done that. A gay Easter egg? Yeah, pretty fucking much. A gayster egg.
You couldn't get laid. I couldn't get laid.
Oh my god, so they can't get laid and it's sort of just like a cope thing instead? That'd be funny. More than anything else. That'd be fucking funny. So yeah.
Like, you somehow ruined every opportunity you had, so you can have a gay romance here. There you go.
But yeah, so the big thing is that these things do exist, and they are worth mentioning because you should know about them. We shouldn't shy away from these things. They should be called out for these things and that they are tacky, right? The black Muslim character shouldn't be in this game, period. It just doesn't make any sense. What you did was tacky, and it was honestly disrespectful to black people and to, history itself. You just put them in there as like a fucking thing, literally.
It's a token.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's actually ironically incredibly racist that they did that. So so that's funny. But the other thing is that they shouldn't have done, like, the gay sex scene thing is more like, it's a nothing burger because it's optional. And so I have no real opinion. Was it necessary for them to do that? No. Not whatsoever. Is it pedophilia? No, it isn't. The characters are adults. They explicitly say that in the game. So, Yeah, they're fictitious characters. Fictitious characters, like, I want to point out the same people that usually complain about this stuff are usually the same people that play like fucking Medieval 2 and they like marry underage girls to like princes and shit. Now, I don't know about you savage other countries, but 18 is the normal age of consent. You filthy other countries. There are some other countries that are just not as advanced as us Americans are. It's okay. You're inferior. It happens. We can't all be perfect. I've upset several chatfish somewhere. Carrots wear red, white, yellow, and purple at this point. Orange carrots were selective breed and Holland about 102 years later. Yeah, pretty much. And that selective breed became very popular, if I remember right. That's why we see orange carrots all the time. Oh, I must stretch. And we must retarget the fucking thing. I'm being a little twitchy today. I got a little twitchy. Europe average is 16. I knew it! Europe was backwards. Europe.
Always been backwards, kids.
See, as a kid, when I was playing Medieval 2 and I saw that the princesses were 16 and getting married and having kids, I'm like, is that wrong? Because, like, I'm American, right? So when I'm playing this game, I'm like, holy shit, like, what the fuck?
Heritage is 50 North Koreans. Hey, in CK, you can make a family circle, not a family tree.
That's true. In CK, you can actually do the same thing. And so when it comes to video games and fictitious media, bad stuff happening, this is like the lolly argument, right? This is this debate. When it comes to fictitious media, so long as no real people are being hurt and nothing with sentience is being bothered by this thing, I don't give a shit. Now, if it's a real person, flesh and blood, then this shit's serious, right? But for me, a fictitious media, like, it's like writing a novel, right? You write a novel and there's like, you happen to have a character and something horrible happens to them, right? And it's part of their character arc. Something...
Blood Meridian, for example.
Yeah, something horrible happened to them. If we go with puritanical law, what that means is that you can't even have stories that depict that as horrible. You just can't have stories, period. It's like Sharia law in creative form. That's what it is. And I just can't stomach Puritans. Period. Whether you lean left or whether you lean right, I think you're a disease, and that you should be, cured. With
Are you politically minded? Disease.
if you're Puritan, yeah, you're a disease, and you need to fight your disease. You need to address that. Hey, I have a problem. I'm a Puritan, and I need to stop being a stuck-up bitch and trying to tell everyone else how to live their life, and instead focus on my own life. Because I probably, being the puritanical bitch that I am, have skeletons in my closet. That's what you need to say out loud in the mirror every morning. Okay? No excuses. You guys have to do this. My back kind of itches. Someone needs to scratch it. I can reach, but not very well. I need one of them back scratchers. God damn it, chat. Somebody send me a back scratchy. Welcome to Stream Slept
Are you so round that you can't actually scratch your back?
$13.50 Norwegian kroners and says, hey,
I read that.
We did read that. My brain, I'm sorry. Like, I just woke up, okay? I woke up a little late today. I stayed up late working. Dang, it just happens. So, if I'm a little tired and I repeat myself a few times, you're just going to have to get over it, right? You're just don't be big baby about it. Don't be big baby. Yeah, that's right. You let it happen.
Big baby, man.
Big baby. Fun fact, age of consent was 13 in France until 1945 when it was raised to 15. Oh, that's terrible. I do not like that. I do not like... Yeah. I knew this would open up that can of worms. But, that country is that country's problem. The only thing that matters is my country. My country, as long as your country's inferior to mine and I'm the hegemon, you don't matter. You don't matter. I didn't want that argument. I don't want to talk about that.
No, well, you had it. You got to live with it.
But yes, okay, now let's talk about the director. So the director, Daniel Vavra, whatever, they're stupid. They're stupid because they did this before with the first game and they did this again with the second game. All they do is rage bait. That's just kind of cringe, honestly. And that's all I have to say on that note. It's just cringe. It's cringe behavior. You're doing it to get more sales. You see, the issue is I know exactly what this guy is doing, right? I can see through you. I know what you're doing. He's doing this literally.
You're a liar. We know what you are.
We know what you are. You're specifically saying woke things now because you got the conservative purchase, and now you're trying to get the other side. You're trying to play both coins because you did it the first time, and now you're trying to play the other side of that coin so you can milk extra money. I know what you're doing. We see what you're doing. You're fake. What you're doing is fake. And this whole like pandering shit you did, and you did it half-heartedly. You don't actually even care. And I know you don't care. Because if you actually cared, this game would be woke, but this game is not woke. It has 3 woke things I found in it that are cringe, and I only found out about those because other people actually found it. I would never figure out the gay thing, period. Never. I would never have figured that out. That was never going to happen. The black Muslim dude, I don't even know if I'll find that guy, unless he's like a main quest thing, then maybe I will. And then there's the third thing we haven't talked about, which is the Jewish expulsion thing, I think. Jewish expulsion was actually a... Listen, YouTube. Okay, this historically happened. You can't get mad at me. But, like, it literally happened. Like, in every goddamn kingdom and nation, it happened. Okay? You can get upset with me, but facts say that this happened. And it happened a lot. And it did coincide with Castile's golden age. I'm just saying. There are connections. I'm not saying exactly why they're connections. I'm just saying that there's coincidences. I'm neither for nor against. I actually just don't care. I just like video games. Period. Chatfish are like, what? Chatfish are wigging out.
Stepping over dragons.
You know, they found changes will mean recently, Billy. Faking gay. Faking gay. Chat, you can't just keep saying that. Rage bait controversy marketing? So gay? Yes, it is gay. Rage bait marketing is like making game being like, hey, conservatives, I'm super based and red pilled. And it's like, so your game is woke, but of a different color. And then if you're going to do that tactic to us now, you're going to do that tactic when it's popular to do it the other way too. Because you're a spineless coward. That's what that means. When you're a game developer or you make a product, you should be like, hey, here's this game I made. It's really fun and really good, and you should try it. Oh, thanks. I'll try it. Oh, wow, it's really fun and really good. Yeah, thanks. We're going to try to make it better in the next one. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. That's it. That's all you need. I don't need any other posturing shit. I don't need any fucking, weird diversity. I don't care. I don't care at all. If I have a game, a Kingdom Come Deliverance game, and it's set in Zulu, Africa, then I want to be Zulu Africa man, run around and stab people. And that's what I do there, okay? And I have to run away from tigers because they're scary, which they are.
Become Zulu Henry.
Zulu Henry, yeah. Like if they set one over there, then the game's set over there, right? And then it is what it is. I don't think that's the most interesting spot. I think it would be... Honestly, I really hope they actually do a Teutonic, like Crusades, Northern Crusades. That'd be cool. I'm just saying, a lot of potential there.
Oh, probably gets membership.
Never mind. I'll save my thoughts for later. Oh, thank you for the gift of membership. But yeah, no, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I want to say, now, there's different levels of thresholds of tolerance, right? Some people cannot tolerate an iota of wokeism in a game. More than fair. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's totally understandable. You're sick to death of hearing about it. We all are. I don't blame you. I never will. But for me, I don't know. You guys made me play some really bad woke games, and it's kind of your fault. And yes, I'm gonna blame you, my audience, for this.
He has a higher threshold.
My tolerance for this shit is so fucking high. I played fucking Veilguard. I beat Veilguard. I am a god. I beat Life is Strange. Okay? What's that one trans game they made me play?
Tell me why.
Tell me why. I played Tell Me Why. Okay? I am a god among gods. I survived these things. So when I see stuff like this in a game, it doesn't faze me anymore. Like, I feel nothing. I pull out my crossbow and I aim it at the Musa guy's forehead and I just put a bolt in his noggin. And then that's the end of it. I don't care beyond that. Because as long as I can just put a bolt in his eyes, like, well, then what? What are you gonna do, game? Unless they do it like he's an unkillable. Oh my god, then I'll actually just have to mod it, I guess, to make it happen. But,
if Sky won't let me kill kids, I'll find another way.
That's the thing, right? Because some people, like, when it comes to Puritans, they don't like that, right? As a kid, as a child, I was like, oh my god, you should never kill kids. But as I grew up, I'm like, yeah, you should be able to kill the shit out of me. You should be able to kill... Because I'm an annoying little... I'm in a little shit, right? Because when I played Fallout 3 as a kid, that opened my eyes. I'm like, I really hate these kids. I really wish they would die. And that's mostly due to the fact that the writing was bad, honestly. That's mostly I'm joking, chat. Come on. Don't be big babies. No baby.
Ran by children, and then they expel the older children.
And the older Fallouts, actually, if I remember right, you could kill kids or whatever.
Yes, and you got a really bad trait for doing it.
Yep. You were like
you were a bad person. You got punished for doing it.
Yeah, see,
no one liked you.
That's the way to handle it. It's like, well, yeah, who would like you after doing that? You're a monster. But the game let you be a monster. That's actually cool. If you're gonna make a game and you're gonna have it be a sandbox or like have multiple approaches, then you should try to add approaches that make sense if it's a free flow character. If it's a pre-scripted character like Henry, I don't see Henry as a child killer. I don't think he should ever kill children. Period. He just doesn't, even if he's like a scoundrel, he just doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who'd do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a pre-script character. He has some moral sensibilities, right? It's like Shepard. Shepard would never do that. Period. Fallout.
Did it remind you of the scene?
Fallout, maybe, you know, because your character can be brain dead. What? Go ahead.
Did it remind you of the scene where he actively went out of his way to try and protect a group of women bathing at the start of the game, and then got in trouble for doing that?
Yes, Henry does that in the beginning of the game. So in the beginning of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you and Hans go to peep on women. This is why I was confused that there was even gay stuff in this game. He's like, Henry can be gay? Like, right off the game's like, they're like, oh, let's go check out. I hear women, and they get excited and they're like fucking sneaking around like a fucking pond or whatever, and like watching them bathe because they're peeping. Our characters, you literally you're peeping Tom. You're peeping on girls within the prologue of the game. Period. Like, I just want to say that. That's why it caught me off guard when it was like, people were like, you could be gay. And I'm like, Henry gay? Hans gay? Like, have you seen this game? Have you played it? And that's the thing we need to talk about too. Because again, the big thing here is that grifting. Grifting is a big factor. Now, if you have a low tolerance threshold for this bullshit, then you should avoid this game, period. And that should be the end of it. Because if you are at the point where you're reaching your life right now and you're like, I don't like wokeism, period. If there's even a little sliver of it, don't buy this game. Skip it. Skip it. Skip it, or wait till it goes on sale and mod it out. That's all I can say on that note. For me, after 20 hours of gameplay, I didn't even know these things existed. In fact, if I didn't have a Twitter account, I probably never would have known this existed. The game's actually really goddamn good, and that's all I have to say on the matter. My leg itches. Hold up. Ow. There we go. A little bit of a scratchy spot. Perfect.
Perfect.
But yeah, honestly, I think the game's really good, and I think it's worth playing, and it's worth checking out. And if you don't want to check it out right now, it's a single-player game. There's no rush to buy this game. This game will still be here and next year and the year after that. And honestly, it'll just get patches, and it might get more content, and it'll get mods to remove the content, and it'll go on sale. If you want to wait to get this game, go for it. That's my recommendation. And if you don't want to get this game at all and you want to skip out on it together and you're looking for an alternative, there are some alternatives that I can offer you, like Dragon Age. It is medieval fantasy themed RPG. There is the Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, which is more
Dragon Age 1, by the way.
Yeah, Dragon Age 1 Origins. Those are good RPGs I can recommend. Bannerlord, if you're looking for something aesthetic, right? It's not my favoriteest game of all time. Bannerlord's an alternative for you. If you're just looking for RPGs in general, there's the Mass Effect trilogy. There's Star Sector for sandboxian style games that have a sort of like sim aspect to them, I guess. There's some games for you to try if you just want to skip out on it. No shame in it, and you don't need to feel bad about it either. I want to make sure that you guys know that, because I think the big thing is that people too quickly are like getting offensive towards each other, right? Being on the attack. If you want to buy this game and play it, then be my guest. If you don't want to buy this game and you don't want to play it, that's also cool too. Do what you want to do. Don't do what others tried to control you to do. Be an independent. You're an independent little chatfish, and you don't need to be lectured to. And honestly, I'm just really probably talking to the wind at this point, because you guys already know that. My leg itches again. God dang it!
Scratch.
I wonder if I got a big bite, a bug bite in the middle of winter. All the snow. It's only 15 degrees out. There shouldn't be any bugs. Good day. Welcome to stream. Thought Kib was recommending Failguard. I recommend Failguard if you want to play something really bad with a friend. It's funny. It's ass. But I've gotten to the point now where I like to play bad games for chat's amusement. Kind of. And maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome. Or maybe it's also just, it's kind of fun. Like, it's fun. It's fun to shit on a game with friends. It's like watching a bad movie or like a B movie. And we hang out in Discord and watch it, and, you know, and we're just like laughing at it. Like, we have an enjoyment. We get enjoyment out of it. I think I'm gonna wait for a massive discount and mods for make EC do better. Yeah, no, that you're probably gonna win. You're probably gonna get the most money up, bang for your buck, more than I did. Did it for most of the game, for the first game, because I wasn't sure if the game was something for me. I tried the first game and I actually hated it. Actually, I know. I gave this game a second chance because I was playing it, and I originally, the first stream, if you watch it, I'm like, I just couldn't get into it. Second game, I closed my eyes, and I was like, okay, let's get out all the thoughts about what you want the game to be, Kibbs, and what you thought the game should be, and let's just play the game for what the game is. And when I played it again, I realized that it was actually more like what I imagined Morrowind to be like. People would always describe Morrowind to me as this great game where you could do all these things, and when I played it, you could do those things, but it was not very great about it. It was very aged and decayed. And I was like, when I was playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I was like, if they made an Elder Scrolls game, the thought came to me, if they made an Elder Scrolls game just like this game, that would be the best Elder Scrolls game ever fucking made. If they remade Morrowind, but in KCD2, that would be, then I would understand. I would finally get why people like Morrowind. Because it would do all those things that Morrowind does, but have gameplay. Oh, because the combat system's really fun in this. Like, the duels feel good, and it's actually fun to fight multiple enemies. And I was expecting it not to be. And it kind of is a little clunky at times, but, like, it's much better than the first one. Yeah, it's a little bit of a review, I guess, in a way. Though I'm only 20 hours in, right? 20 hours? 20. I keep thinking, my brain wants to say I'm only 9 hours in. No, I'm 23 hours in. Jesus, I can't believe it. I want to play it right now, but I'm actually restraining myself. Because, you know. I gotta. I mean, Kibbs has a big boobied avatar. The grooming has been going on. Oh yeah. Whatever, chat bros. Laugh it up. Whatever. Kibbs, you are at least aware of the character's betrayals you missed by not playing the first game. I am aware of the plot, yes. And I can safely say you do not need to play the first game, period. You're welcome. You can skip the first game if you want to.
They fucking reference the entirety of the first half of the game and fucking...
The prologue is actually incredibly long due to it, and I think that's actually bad design. Personally, that's my critique about the prologue. Because it's massive. They expect you not to have played the first game. And that's why the prologue is so heavy with its flashback shit. Oh my god. When he's bag grooming. Well, you're a cat, so whenever. Cats do that all the time. You know, little cat man. He's like, meow. Fucking hated the combat in the first game, and I'm gonna pass this one. That's fair. I was exactly the same opinion, Heretical Nerd. Then I played this game, and I'm like, oh my god, the combat's actually fun in this one. This one polished the combat in a way that polished, like, what was a neat idea and made it good. Because I did the prologue and the section where you're like, you can beat hounds, you can beat that guy that you fight on the cliff, and doing that felt so satisfying and good that I'm like, god, this feels good. Like, getting into a duel with a knight way out of your league is so cool. Solving the riddle that we did, and we now wear, like, we're knight, or we're wearing Sir Brunswick's armor because we had the patience to solve a riddle and go on a treasure hunt, and so I'm just vastly overgeared for my level, is hilarious. That is honestly the endearing part. The fact that you can be a knight, you can be a thief, you can be honorable, you can be celibate, you can be, you know, super Christian, you can be whatever. Like, it's just super, I like it. It's like, it's a sandbox. I almost wish it was a bit heavier on the sandbox elements. I'm hoping that a game will be made where it just is a sandbox. Because the overall arching story with this character is they're funny, and their exploits are funny and amusing. But, the writing is so-so, you know? Just think it was the
hungry,
first
by
one.
the way.
Yeah, Henry's always hungry.
Oh, go for a bite.
The moral of the story is don't eat the yellow snow without a helmet. You pee much. Pee much. So yeah. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Not a bad game, but it does have problems. And it does have ugly parts in it. And they are worth noting. Never ever silence somebody that raises criticism, because I never do. And actually no. Depends, right? I thought about that. I have to silence Squealy all the time. He critiques me, my gameplay. We can't have that. Unacceptable.
You're bad at video games.
No. I'm misunderstood. I'm a misunderstood gaming god.
You don't engage with mechanics sometimes.
Sometimes I don't. That's true. And I know that all of you do that too. And so I'm going to bring you all down to my level. I'm going to drag you all the fish under the sea. Yes, that's right.
You're not better than me.
You're the same. You're the same. If I can't be better than you, then we'll be equals. Oh my god. I think my chair's slightly goofed.
It's a bit goofy. So goofy.
Oh. But yeah. I'm noticing some weird, janky things. There we go. Next. Oh, let's see. Anyone else have any questions on it? I was surprised. I was expecting more of a dialogue. It seems sort of like everyone just sort of agreed with me, and I didn't really expect that, so.
Because you have a very mild-mannered audience that both agree and agree with you at the same time.
I'm actually scrolling looking.
And most of them are rather civil.
Yeah, you guys are pretty reasonable, I guess. I guess we're all just kind of based. I can't help it. Base brigade. Like, we don't like woke stuff, but we're also not dumb.
I played a game pretty recently that was extremely fucking woke, but I was able to enjoy it at the very least.
What was it?
Go ahead and pull up Small Saga.
Oh, that sounds... Oh, no. Just tell us about it. We don't need to look at it.
So, it's basically just like rat RPG. That's the whole meme behind it. And surprisingly enough, it does RPG a little bit better than most games when it comes to the mechanics. But there's a section of the game that is just like a fucking anti-America propaganda. Comparing America to Nazi Germany, and that's saying that people love to be rolled over and shit like that.
What the fuck?
It was fucking random as shit, and Ghost and I were just laughing our asses off when we got to that part of the game. It was so fucking bad.
Let's start it. How could you like that? How could you like something so cringe?
His main character was just rat guts, and I found that funny.
You know, my phone does do that. Does it, like, randomly insert itself upside down? Huh, my head snapped off. You can't see what I see, Chad. But there's a 3D thing, and it does things, and it's kind of weird. That's so weird.
So weird.
It is.
Weird. Icky.
Huh, weird. Well, whatever does that, I just gotta do that. Okay. Weird. I'm learning new things every day, chat. Where? Harkening to the title of the stream, what are your thoughts on Star Citizen? I think Star Citizen has a great deal of potential that is often misused. Mostly because they have crowdsourcing power that I wish I had. But I also think that they have mismanaged their product and project pretty badly. And if I had a fraction of the resources, I would cream myself. Because I have whatever chat gives me. And I'm grateful for it, but like, goddamn. What those guys get, though? Holy shit. Their game should have been out ages ago. Actual ages ago. They have so many resources. And while I am all for big development projects like Project Zomboid being decade-longs, they've done so much work and have so little to show for that it's kind of embarrassing. Well, it's more of a tech demo than it is a game, from the stuff I've looked at. That's just kind of how I feel about it. And I think at the end of the day, I think a lot of people were scammed pretty badly. At least from what I've looked at. Because, like, Jesus Christ. The amount of money that they've gained. And at the same time, if the game comes out and it turns out that it was worth the wait, then great. But I seriously ask if that's even possible. Now, Zombie dropped a ball on the AI. Or wait, are you talking about the NPCs? Are you talking about the AI art? I don't even know if that's true. I didn't even look at that controversy.
Was there an AI art controversy?
There was. Yes.
Oh.
I didn't really investigate it too much, mostly because I played patch 42 and then I moved on. Because I wanted to check it out, and that was about it. I wouldn't mind some of this stuff if they said you were playing as Henry instead to start you as a new character, and it wouldn't need to change the old things they established in the voice game. What did they change from the first game?
Not much actually. From what I can tell. That's of Henry's standing and how wealthy he is.
Yes, besides him being poor again.
Like, technically speaking, I think Henry would be more wealthy than most people in the fucking provinces. most nobles, considering he's a player character and they hoard gold.
Yep, groschen. Yeah, I don't think there was too much there, because I know the story of Henry and whatnot.
Henry.
What are you talking about? Straight to gay? Our Henry is celibate. He would never put his pee-pee in anything. Period. So,
occasionally a woman.
Unless Chatfish have further things to add to the Kingdom Come Deliverance thing, and if you do, just at the Bickering bunch and we'll talk about them. But we're gonna move on to the next subject, because I think the other one, I think we've talked about pretty much all the things that are in there. What do you want, Blake? Blake! He's always DMing me all the time, being a little bigot in my DMs.
Brazil! I finished Armor 3, Thumby!
That looks pretty good. I'll show it to chat after we complete this thing. I just imagine Chatfish would be really bad at Armor 3. Just saying. I think V1 is better, but you can pick. Let's see, where was I? His standing on sexuality and his relationship with hands. His standing on sexuality is the same, and his relationship with hands is still friendly. It hasn't changed.
Bros. They're best friends.
Oh, I take it Death just showed up. Okay. Alright, so that's a really obscure choice you can do in the game to do that. But when you play the game, your relationship with hands is the same, and so is your sexuality from the first game. Whether you chose to be celibate in the first game or whether you chose not to be celibate is more or less respected in this game as well. Nothing about Henry's character actually changes in this particular regard at all. And honestly, the sexuality of a character is the least interesting subject I think we could possibly talk about a character. It's honestly tragic that we're actually talking about that, in my opinion.
But gives shipping drama. Shipping.
I know.
Shipping.
Sexuality is the least interesting subject when dealing with a character, because a character should be far more than just their sexuality. That's just shallow. It's just... Now,
there have been full wars fought over characters.
The next subject we're going to be talking about is the LGBTQ plus activists accuse Helldivers 2 developers of silencing them after they attempted to push propaganda into the game. They're like
an old controversy, but it's an example of the other side of the coin.
Yep. March 13th, 2024, the year of our Lord. This happened a while ago, but it's a gaming controversy, and we're talking about controversy as a whole and how they affect games, right? In the case of KCD2, it was affected, and it did affect some aspects of it, but I think the greater part of its whole, the game, if you look at the game as its whole, the parts that are affected are so minuscule, it's like literally a pebble in comparison. Now, bear in mind that's only 23 hours into the game, okay? I don't know, maybe things will turn worse, but all the research, if the 3 points of contention are only 3 points of contention at the moment, then odds are it's a pretty weak issue if it's 3 points, and I haven't even seen one of them yet. But I know they're in there, period. LGBTQ plus activists accuse Helldivers 2 developers of silencing them after they attempted to push propaganda into the game. So, a while ago, there was a drama in which LGBTQ activists tried to push trans flag capes and LGBTQ capes into the game. And Pilestrat, as you know, Johan Pilestrat, pretty much responded saying it doesn't belong in the game because it doesn't fit the aesthetic. It's not the spirit of the game. The spirit of the game is fighting for Super Earth and fighting for mankind against, you know, the forces of tyranny, the fascist bugs, as the game refers to them, the socialist automatons, and the the aristocratic illuminate or something like that. I don't remember 100%.
I think it was, weren't they king something?
I don't know what you just said.
Monarch it was, maybe.
That'd be aristocratic.
Yeah.
You stupid squealy. He's like, meh.
You're mean.
But yeah. And so this is an example of them saying no, right? And basically saying no and shutting down the argument and then moving on. This is good. This is good. This is why the power of vocality is also important, too. This also actually ties exactly to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 as well. Or ties into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This is why, when we talk about criticism, truthfulness, and honesty, you should be honest about this. Just like I was. Yeah, address it. These things do exist. Point them out, and they should not be in the game. They should be removed. They have no place in these games. They don't belong here. It's inappropriate, to say the least. And we should, I think that's not even really this is not a debate, because I think we're all on the same page here, honestly. Hence why it's weird that, 74 people just flat out just never fought me on anything here. Just sort of, went along with everything I said. So either they're all bots or
remember, you're a YouTuber. You whatever you say goes. It's true.
That's not true. I've been wrong many times, and my opinion has evolved. My opinion before, if we go back a decade before, would be very different. It'd be 2015. Yeah. Honestly, the wokeism stuff at that point I was still kind of oblivious to. I was just realizing that it was existing. Mostly because I was just not paying attention. Like, that was when Gamergate happened, and I was like, Gamergate? Like, what? Is that like fucking
Gamers?
Watergate? Like, that's cringe. I don't care. And I moved on. That's cringe. I don't care.
Isn't Gamergate also the reason why we don't call each other gamers anymore, but we're supposed to say player?
What? Never heard of that.
To change the vocabulary.
Autocrat says Killjoy. Thank you very much. Infallible content creator.
Inflatable, he said.
50 men enter a sub. 50 couples return. What the fuck? Oh my god. Gross.
The Navy's gay. That's fine.
I always knew it. Moving on. The next one. Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is rather interesting. It's actually got less woke things than KCD2 did, but got more accusations of it than in all of them combined. That's funny. That's also tragic. There is an element of wokeism in this game, though. There's specifically a section where there's randomly a girl, and she's like, hey, by the way, I'm a lesbian. And you're like,
huh?
I don't care. And then that's the end of it, and then you never see her again. And then you never see her. It's the weirdest thing. But it's important to call it out because it did exist, and it did not have any place in the game because it didn't make any sense. It was said in Egypt. And Egypt is ruled by Muslims, and Muslims' views on women and homosexuality are punishable by death. So, punishable. That's just not gonna happen. That's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Muslims hate gay people. They always have. Like, it's reality. It's a fact, chat. I'm sorry, but the science is there. I don't want to get the videos because that's gross and grotesque, but they do exist. Poor Kibble was an unfounded bucketfish himself. Whoa. Now let's see, because I think we should destroy Chatfish. Chatfish are agreeing with me too much. I don't like it. I wanted them to be a little feistier so I could yell at them. But you guys are just going along with everything I say, so I think you're just playing me. You're playing me! Alright, so let's say Indiana Jones: A Great Circle. Yeah. So its wokeism elements are minor, and it's actually a more faithful and accurate game to Indiana Jones than the new Indiana Jones movie, or even Crystal Skull was. Honestly, it actually proved yet again that movie games are totally viable. Battle for Middle-earth proved this. Return of the Jedi, or not Return of the Jedi, sorry. Revenge of the Sith movie game proved this. The Return of the King movie game proved this. You know, this has been proved time and time again that movie games and movie game adaptations are totally viable and can not only be good games, but they can be great and timeless classics. And we've seen that. We know that. And so this game, while it does have some problems, like some of the puzzles are like obscenely easy, and some of the puzzles are actually kind of require a little bit of thought process, and they're kind of more fun. It was a game that you could do them, and they were not egregious. It was actually fun. I guess if you're going to balance puzzles, making sure the puzzles are doable and not going too heavy on them is important, but they could have maybe tuned up some of the main questline puzzles, because they end up sort of just solving themselves, usually. But what can you do? But yeah, the Indiana Jones game was a great game. And it's a great game that actually was mired by bad PR marketing. Bad PR marketing where they talked about it being for modern audiences. That is bad. Saying that is just not a good idea. You just should, that's like the big no-no. You don't say that. Like, my game is made for modern audiences. And like, oh boy, that's red flag number one. And also, Indiana Jones had a little bit of fatigue going on already because people were very disheartened after the recent movie. The recent movie being not very good. So
kind of poopy.
Yeah. So it had a big challenge, and the fun part is that it actually is just really good. I actually hope that this game recovers itself in a way as time goes on and actually does well, because I would actually like to see another Indiana Jones video game made in this manner. It actually showed me that, was it Crazy Machine Games or whatever the guys that made Wolfenstein are? They can make games. Believe it or not. Their Wolfenstein game, they fucked up with Wolfenstein, but when they worked on this project, they actually got reined in. They cut the woke shit, and they actually just made a decent game. But this brings us back to the price point, because pricing is another, and Blake also brings it up right now too. Yeah, pricing is a huge thing. And it's system requirements. It's a good game. It's a game you should play, but forcing RTX functionality is not a good idea because not everyone can support that. And charging $70 cunting dollars, I can't say that on YouTube, but I just did because I'm so angry about it, is never a good idea. You don't charge $70 for a game. $70 is just outlandish. We've had this stream and topic before, but every time it's brought up, I have to talk about it again. $70 is outlandish. It's just outlandish. Quit pushing this pricing. $60 is even outlandish as well. We shouldn't be charging $60. We should have stopped doing that from ages ago. It's disrespectful to the players, and it's blatant greed. We should be charging at most 50. But I would argue that that is a bit scummy. It should be 40 or less. $40 or less is what an interactive game should cost. Not anything more than that. And if you need more money than that, you're probably mismanaging your studio. And odds are, they usually are, because publishers, they normally take the money and they divest the interest into other projects, and they never reinvest back into the project, except for some rare circumstances where that did occur. But that's very rare. And usually those games always got killed because they had like ridiculous expectations. That game being Dead Space, where they're like, yeah, let's reinvest even more into it. And then they're like, wow, why didn't this niche game do well? I don't get it. I don't get it.
This horror genre game that isn't Resident Evil did not do extremely well, but still succeeded? What the fuck?
But succeeded only barely? Commercial failure. And a commercial failure is a dead franchise.
Okay, you guys, being able to do your job and make really good games, fuck that. Make a fucking co-op shooter.
Now, when it comes to controversies affecting games or torpedoing sales, I think that there are some controversies that are so bad that they honestly save people's money. And Assassin's Creed Shadow dev, or Shadows, not the dev, well, the devs too, right? Because they address their historical inaccuracies. But Assassin's Creed Shadows, what it does is it actually saves even normies money because its blowback is so preposterously bad that the game has just a negative rap. Like, yeah, the Assassin's Creed games and the shovelware garbage they've been put out. Last time Assassin's Creed game I had fun was like Black Flag. I had fun with Odyssey only because I enjoyed exploring the Greco world, and I thought that was really cool. And that was the only reason I'd ever want to go back to it, because seeing the Greek architecture and the Greek aesthetic is really cool. Even though the gameplay I find incredibly repetitive and bad. But I think the last time Assassin's Creed was fun was Black Flag for me. But like truly good at its height or zenith would be Brotherhood. Brotherhood was peak. This franchise has gone on for so long, it has lost all semblance of itself. We've talked about it before, and we'll never stop talking about it, but it has no idea what it wants to be anymore. It's just insert random medieval period thing here, go there. Random antiquity thing there, go there. And while I love antiquity and medieval history, they do it in such fucking lame ways that it's preposterous. I just can't. I can't even. I miss Rayman, damn it. Rayman was a great game. I remember I have Rayman on my PlayStation 1. That was a really good game. Outside of my Xbox 360, I think. I think they made another Rayman game back then, but then they stopped. Brotherhood is the best gameplay and story. It does. Ezio Auditore's story is amazing. Revelations was a bit of a letdown, in my opinion, but Revelations was a good, more or less tying up of the story, so that we actually had a conclusion. Not many games or story arcs get proper conclusions like Ezio Auditore did. Ezio Auditore. Yeah, I enjoyed that. We should one day do an Assassin's Creed playthrough, chat, so we can see our good old boy Ezio. I never played Assassin's Creed 2. Yeah. Only played Brotherhood. But Brotherhood was so good that I assumed 2 was good too. Like, what the fuck? He just assumed that. Oh my god. But yeah. We were told we're charging $60 for the discs and the boxes and the manuals, by the way, as well. The printing and shipping costs. Digital, and the price has only gone up. Yes, it has. This is abysmal. This is bad. We've talked about the pricing thing before, and I'll keep talking about it every time. AC3 felt weird to you? Yeah, it was weird. AC3 was just awkward. Black Flag was like fun, and then like after that, Assassin's Creed just lost what it was. It was just goofy after that. We could actually argue that Black Flag is what also killed Assassin's Creed though, because AC3 was weird and goofy and was received mixed. Black Flag recovered it, but broke away so much that it actually drifted the entire franchise. Yeah, no, that's actually true. It drifted the entire franchise because it made it not about the Templar Order and modern history being tied together. Even though I thought that was weak in how it was executed, I would have rather seen what that would have become than see Assassin's Creed turn into a fucking RPG, which is what it is. It's a grindy RPG game. I haven't played any SE game. Enjoyed watching people play the earlier games up to Black Flag. After that, not much interested in for the series. Yeah, pretty much. The only one I ever wanted to play and still kind of want to play is the Greek one, Odyssey. And that is only because it's Greek themed. And I like antiquity. And that's it. That's the only reason. Period. Nothing else. Nothing. I enjoyed Ragnarok, but the aesthetic is one that particularly appeals to me. Ragnarok looked interesting, or that one, and only because the Viking Age is interesting, and what I really, really enjoyed about it was how romanticized it was. Specifically, it romanticized like the Roman ruins, and one of my favorite things about playing Ragnarok for the Viking one, for the little bit I did play it, was going to the Roman ruins, and going as far north as I could, and seeing Hadrian's Wall, and exploring Hadrian's Wall. That was cool.
I just thought it was funny that they tried to make it sound like the Vikings weren't slavers.
That was funny. That's hilarious. They were slavers. Like the fact that they're like, no, they were. Like the Christians were definitely the victims in this regard, because they were mostly fighting a defensive war against an invading force. But at the same time, you know, that conflict was important to happen because they beat each other up. And it's funny.
We spread culture, said the Viking, who enslaved the Christian and killed the monk. You get top rank in all the Brotherhood challenges, you unlock the Raiden outfit from Metal Gear 4.
I think you're making shit up.
No, I don't believe that to be true. It would be funny.
Scratch. But yeah, So when it comes to controversies with games, the big thing is, and I think we need to talk about next, is basically moving on from rage bait and clickbait. So rage bait is usually channels that are always negative and always political. Usually they're political channels in general. These are channels that you should always be cautious of, because some of them may be informative, but usually the entire intention here is parasitic. It meaning that they are what we refer to as content creators, as vulture content creators. Vulture content creators lack the ability or the drive to create new and fresh or interesting content, and will often focus on either A, attacking another content creator because they disagree with them. If they attack or make videos about another content creators, that is a red flag. That usually means that they're a vulture. If they go after what's the word? If they basically just blow things out of proportion, right? And they just never play games, or like they just play a game for like a couple hours and like GG's woke, and then they just drop it. Usually that's another red flag, because they're just doing it for clickbait and then they move on. They're not interested in investigating the quality of a game. They're actually interested in just milking your viewership and milking you of your money. You have to be cautious of these people, because this whole controversy thing that we were talking about, which is related to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it's tied to all these other issues too, is misinformation is actually the key cornerstone in this type of tactic. It's basically to use your emotions. And what you need to try to do, and it can be hard for some people, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. But sometimes you feel a violent reaction, right? Or maybe not violent reaction, that's a bit extreme, but you feel a revulsion towards something. Like, oh, I don't like that. Like, that pisses me off. That's all right. There's a reason why that pisses you off, and you shouldn't be ashamed of that reason. Normally there's a good cause for that, right? Like, oh, there's allegedly child sodomy in this game. The revulsion. Good. I
don't like child sodomy.
If you don't have revulsion, you should probably see a psychiatrist. But oh my god. But yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing with a capital G. But the big thing is, remember that a lot of these things are here to play into your prejudices, your emotion, and your fear. Because Puritans live on one specific thing. That is manipulation and control. They must control what you play. They must control what you do with your free time. Control gives them power over you. And that control means that you'll be theirs to use and manipulate for their own ends. They're not interested in you having fun. They don't care about you. They don't care about you at all. You are simply a ends to a means. And if you get in the way of that, you will be disposed of in whatever manner they see fit. And this is why you got to be careful with people like that, right? So if you enjoy something or you don't enjoy something, there's no shame in it. And never let other people tell you otherwise. I may give people like shit, like jokingly, right? Or Squilly might do that, but it's a joke. If you actually are at the point where you're feeling bad, though, then you should probably stop for a second and be like, God, like, well, maybe I don't want to talk to this Kibs and Squealy guy. He's mean. Yeah, if they're mean and we're being mean to you and we're being actually just rude and not being interesting or like trying to control your thoughts, then you probably should avoid us. It's just, that's what you should do for your own sake. It's simple. I don't know why I have to say this, but I feel like I need to, because I feel like sometimes people are too trusting. Because I genuinely believe that most people are good people, and I know they are.
I don't.
No, they are. The vast majority of people are good, and they have a good heart. Good men mean well. No, good men mean well. They just don't always end up doing well. Best quote, and I'll always use that, because that is something I truly believe. There's always good in every little bucket fish. Look at these little guys.
I'll agree to a potential for good. That's it.
We can be mean to each other at times. We can be rude or even mean spirited, right? But chatfishies mean well. They're good little fishies. Look at them. Look, point at them. Where's my?
Oh, you point at me. I don't want to be pointed at. Mean spirit.
Look, chat. You guys, you little chatfish. You're good little guys. Look at you. What? Me? Good little guy? Good little... Like, ever since you made this thing for me, like, I'm just gonna keep using it randomly until I forget about it for some reason. It's so good. That little chatfish, he's a really good guy. He's a really good guy. Men are bad in nature, but society corrupts them into being good. No. No. I'm P.O.K. I take evil, says Billy Donuts, as he eats yet another
Your
donut.
name adds up.
Donut.
Delicious.
He got an evil donut.
So, is there any other controversies Chatfish would like to bring up that throughout gaming history that they would like to talk about? Now is the time to do so. Because I think we've kind of covered all the basics of controversies and why they're important to talk about and how they affect the game industry, because they do. And they are important to talk about, like people that manipulate people. I think what often doesn't get talked about or addressed is rage bait. Rage bait channels or rage bait content or rage bait journalists. Rage bait YouTubers and journalists, there's no difference between these two things, by the way. They are the same. They are one and the same because they exist to do the exact same thing, and there's no difference. Period. There isn't. Oh my god. I just had a revelation. I was sitting here and I came to that conclusion. Oh my god.
Were you saying Assassin's Creed Revelation?
Yeah, I had one of those Assassin's Creed Revelations in my head right now. I'm like, they do the exact same thing, and they have the same fucking ends, and they don't like games. Oh my god. Often you'll see these people like only talk about old rose-tinted games as the only good games, and then never, ever, ever point to any new games as even possibly interesting. They're like, everything is bad and the world is hopeless. Boo-hoo. Also, become a patron and subscribe to a member and suck my pee-pee. Okay.
Subscribe to my Patreon.
Do you remember how in the early days of early access on Steam, games would be get abandoned? That still happens.
They still are.
That didn't stop. It's just most of the games that are interesting, because there's so many games, because we're in a what we call a golden age right now of new games and new content. So many good games and so many okay games and even passable games and even mediocre to slightly bad games come out, that the amount of games that get abandoned in early access are often forgotten. The amount of games released monthly and yearly now versus like 2 decades ago is catastrophic, and that has to do with the indie scene blowing up. That's both good and bad. It means there's a lot of good games that actually get missed completely. They completely, like, there are a lot of gems out there that I probably never even heard of and that you guys haven't heard of that have good aspects or good elements, but we've just missed together. Mangalad says initiatives like Stop Killing Games by Ross Scott are a step on the right direction, or maybe well-meaning things without concrete things. Ross did actually do something pretty astounding there. Honestly, that was a good initiative, but I think it failed in the end. But it was kind of gonna anyways. It didn't matter if it was gonna fail or not, though. Doing that is a step in the right direction. For as far as video game activism, I hate the word activism. Video game preservation is the most important thing, I think, in the industry at this point in time. Mostly due to the fact that there are a lot of good games right now that are being lost forever. And as years go on, more good games and more games that are works of art and that should have the same protections as art, but we do not. Because movies get this. Sports stuff gets this. Fucking artwork gets this. Music gets this. But video games, for some reason, have found themselves exempt from protection and preservation to be experienced by future generations. In my opinion, even as a developer, I believe that all games should be preserved for future generations. This includes games that were abandoned by their publishers and studios to the point where they don't even make money off them. They should be acquirable, whether through being free or whether you buy them or whatever. They should be acquirable and they should be playable. And I think that's for every game. I even think Dawn of War 3 should be preserved. I think bad games should be preserved, and I think good games should be preserved. Period. End of discussion. No favoritism. Woke, cringe shit, slop should be preserved just as much as Red Alert 2. And the reason why is because if they're all preserved, there's a greater chance of this succeeding, right? If we play the favoritism card, then shit's gonna fall through the cracks. We either save it all or we save none at all. This is why
poorly made as the Asper remakes are and remasters are. They are at the very least making games playable on modern computers.
Some of the remakes are actually decent.
I looked at the fucking what they actually do for the remasters. They're not very good, and a lot of them are just AI upscaling.
They don't really remaster anything, by the way.
No, all they do is they make it playable on modern PC.
Yeah.
And that's at the very least that's helpful.
That's all Asper does. Asper, unlike Feral Interactive is a better porting company, in my opinion. Feral Interactive is one of the best porting companies in the market. They're so good, in fact, they actually did make a remaster called Rome Remaster, and it was really good. Honestly, I think Feral Interactive should become the new CA, but that's just me. Because their team has more experience with the old Total Wars than CA does, so... They're honestly better. Like, if I could tell Sega to do anything, I would tell them to shutter and liquidate the assets for Creative Assembly and transfer those resources and assets to Feral Interactive's control and have them take over. Because they probably would make better Total War games. I'm just saying, it's facts. Remasters just feel lazy to me. Depends on the remaster. Some of them are necessary. For example, Warcraft 1 received a remaster recently. And it was desperately needed. Desperately. I can actually play Warcraft 1 now. Before that, I couldn't stomach the concept of playing the game. It's too backwards. And that's how I feel about
archaic.
it. Archaic. It's backwards. It is backwards. It's ancient, archaic.
Backwards would refer to that it's a modern game going back to, rather than
it's so old. It's
archaic,
even more.
it's
It's backwards. It's ancient. I don't like it. I think Warcraft 1 is insufferable to play. Vanilla. I think the Warcraft 1 remaster was not only needed, but I think that they didn't do it enough. I think it needs a remake. There are some games that are just too archaic that just need to be remade. And that's one of them. Warcraft 1 needs to be remade. It's archaic. And I will hear none of this Chatfish nonsense about it not being. Okay? Warcraft 1 didn't even have a selection box. Yes, agree with me. Yes, Mango Lad is like, Mango weird. There are some cases where games need to be remade. And that is one of them. Oh my god, some games are just so ancient, man. So ancient. It doesn't need to be remade. Just make new games. No, Stone Age. I don't want a new game in this regard. I want Warcraft 1. I want to play the story. See, this is good. Like, for example, it's like make new games. Like this argument works for a couple of things, except if you want something specific, right? I want to play the new Battlefield game and I want it to be good. Just play a new game. I look at the new games. I don't want to play those. I want to play a Battlefield game. I want to play a good Battlefield game. That's what I want, right? And I want that. I want to play Star Wars Battlefront 3. I want to play it. I want to play Medieval 3. These things don't exist. No one's going to make any fucking alternatives to these things. And I know that. If it's not a broken mess, yeah, I'm okay with it. Well, of course you're going to be okay with it if it's not ass. Like, everyone's going to like it if it's not ass, right? Like, not to be rude or anything, but like, yes, when I ask for a remake or a remaster, I'm asking for it to be A, respectful to its source material, B, to be goddamn good, and that's it. That's all I'm asking. Respectful to the source material and good. And genuine improvement. And a love letter to the community. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. I don't need anything else. That's all I need.
Yes, Kib can't have a new Battlefield game, but Aerith can have a new Battlefield game. If they write Aerith.
Wow, rude. Purple. Chatfish.
It's your name right now.
That's
You
true.
made that deal.
We did make that deal. And these Chatfish don't know that. Most of these guys don't even know what you're talking about.
Yes, that's because they're filth.
Wow.
Aerith.
So yes, chat. I am responding to being called Aerith now because I made a bet with chat if they would make the weekly goal Saturday or whatever. Was it Saturday or Friday?
It was Friday.
Yeah, if they made it Friday before we got to Sunday, I would let people call me Aerith and refer to myself as Aerith. So yes, in this particular case, I'm not Kibbs today. I am Aerith. Just today. Today's the last day of that, so laugh it up while you can. Chat's like, woo! I kind of want an animation for the big 3D Chatfish where it slowly looks down at us with judgment. Well, there's always requesting things. We could always, ask Blake how much he'd want for these animations in DMs, and then we'd hash out a price. Because we could make these animations, you could use them for memes. Technically, this one's been released in the Discord server, so you can actually use it. It's in the channel asset section, like we release all the assets you guys help make, or fund, or whatever. And then we put them in there so you can use them and play with them. Aerith with masculine voice? Yeah, I'm a very masculine Aerith. Just for today. Tomorrow I'm gonna be Kibbs again. I'm gonna be Kibbs.
That can always change.
And we're gonna go back to normal.
And whichever remake next week's goal today in this week, he'll be Aerith for that one. Well,
damn chat. But yeah, I do want to play more Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 really badly, but I'm actually restraining myself, even though I want to do it right now. But I think we're gonna do Helldivers 2 today a little bit, just to play with chat because we didn't get to play with everyone last time, and I want to make sure that we do more community event stuff with you guys. We play more games with you, so you guys don't get left behind. I want Prey 2. Well, which Prey 2? You want the Prey?
Actually,
The shapeshifter one? Or no, there isn't. Or the original shooter.
No.
You always be our gay coconut. Well, Slepdrock, you donated $2. That's your first third super. God dang.
Of this stream, anyway.
How many first third supers will you have each day going forward? So
This account is just broken on YouTube.
Yeah, that is weird, and it's just forever that way. Chatfish are being goofy and weird. You like the Bickering Bunch theme track, chat? It's good you like it. It's pretty chill.
Yeah, pretty nice.
It just really encapsulates, I think, us pretty well. I think Robert did a good job. Chill, level-headed, persistently autistic. You know, it gets that down. Shadow Trooper has an update, so many more bugs. Does it? I've been actually holding off on playing that one. Mostly because I've been letting it cook.
I installed it, so we're not playing that.
We are going to revisit it.
At some point, yeah, but it's like I would have to reinstall that game.
Here, the Federation difficulty, Specialization 1-3. Future updates, Hero of the Federation difficulty tier, FedNet update, under barrel attachments from MK1, new galactic perks. Yeah, I think we can wait a little bit more. In development, bug holes, new bug spawning system, new 16-player game mode, new map, Merida 2, 25, update 1.3, PC console. Invite game friend to company. They still don't have that dynamic weather systems. Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, I'm content with letting this cook a little longer. They should not have launched this game, by the way. This is not another one of those cases where this game should have cooked longer, because I imagine people are upset.
I imagine people upset.
They botched this, and the DLC is really bad. The problem is like Helldivers works with its microtransactions mostly due to the fact that like it actually functions. Yeah, we're gonna have to let this cook a little longer. Did they finally add the tanker bug?
It's in the promotional material.
I know it wasn't in the game for the longest goddamn time, by the way.
Its corpse was.
Just dead model. Pretty much.
Like they had the model though, they never used it.
I would say Helldivers 2 is definitely coming the most far. And as far as Sid Meier's Civilization, for those that didn't see the Sid Meier's Civilization streams, we'll talk about this briefly too. This game is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's actually pretty decent for what it is, but it is not worth your money. It's not worth $70, and it's not worth what I paid for, which is that, I think. I hope I didn't accidentally click on that, because I can't get my money back now. Because I already have 8 hours in it. But yes, this game, Sid Meier's Civilization, the new one, it's going to be a wish list item. It's a wish list item. Sit on it, wait on it, let it cook. It'll be ready someday, but it needs to cook for another year.
It's a very nice soundtrack.
It does. It needs a bit more variety to its music. It needs some patches. It's another one of those things where 2K shoved out a game that wasn't ready, that needed more time in the oven. Where the line for tickling Aerith's fluffy ears? Asked Todd for $2. Thank you for the nation. Well, Toddley, you can always make an art piece and form a line around Aerith. Ooh, huh? Also, Reguline. SF, Fit Aerith, and Aerith Choice. Thank you for your generous donation.
As well as thank you, Harlot, for the membership gift. What is Aerith's Choice, by the way?
I don't know. What needs help funding?
A little bit of everything.
What's a little bit of everything?
Let's see here. You could always help out the profile. Sorry, actually no. Sorry, Draconis fanfic for hands. I'd make that.
What?
Making hands read the Draconis fanfic.
How far away is that?
That was an option. It's getting to halfway there soon.
Okay, put it towards that.
Maybe $2.
No, wait. Put it towards the Aya Tenties piece. I've changed my mind.
Okay.
Chat. Or how far away is the or Aya Tenties piece?
It's almost halfway there. Like $5 off
Only $5 off?
of being halfway there.
Oh, I got excited.
Aya's gonna get tentacled, and you want that to happen?
Thank you for the
like
gift of
Aya
membership,
tentacles?
Harlot. I
Orlet.
just want to help the chat bros out because I'm a true kid bro helping out chat bros whenever chat bros need it. Now,
They'll be chased, Aerith.
Sid Meier's Civilization 7 needs more cooking. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is surprisingly good. It's a good game. There's not much else to say. It's one of the first time I played a sandbox RPG that I haven't hated my existence in it in a long time. God damn it, kibbles into tanties. This information will have consequences. Well, I've determined I am going to be sick for work tomorrow, says Cassie. Well, I'm glad. I'm kidding. He's like, Jesus Christ. There's no need to be a big baby about it. But yeah, speaking of remasters and remakes, we've talked about this briefly, but remasters, when done well, nobody will be upset about them, usually. The Dead Space remaster was solid. The Command & Conquer remaster was solid. The Warcraft 1 and 2 remaster was solid. Warcraft 3, I know this sounds weird, Reforged, is solid. I know. I feel
good
dirty
now.
for saying that. But after they did the 2.0 patch, was it last winter? Or 2024 winter? It's actually good now. Like, it's got more like functionality and features and stuff than the previous version, and you can just play it in the old graphics and it looks fine and the textures are fine.
It sounds funny, Chatfish, but it actually is better now.
It actually is better now. It sounds like I'm lying to myself even, but it's not. I'm telling the truth, and even then I feel bad about it. I'm just saying, chat bros. Not everything can be perfect like me. It's like, what? Well, I have to now to make it Aerith's problem. Oh, Cassie, you little femboy. He's like, femboy. You don't need to announce you're a femboy, dude. Like, I don't need to know that. I've always guessed. I've been guessing that for a long time, Cassie.
I can always tell with you and your isms. No, you don't have any isms.
Yup, that's true. We could always do that. You love a remaster of Alpha Protocol? Yes. I think everyone here can agree that we all would like good remasters and good remakes. And some games could use them. Medieval 2 doesn't need a remake, but it could use a remaster with modern controls and cameras and better, more CPUs, more processor units being assigned to the game. Yeah, I think I agree with myself. And I think you agree with me too. Chat's like, as they sit there, agreeing with me. Silence is consent, chat. Silence is consent.
Okay.
That's the spirit, chat bros. Now, chat, we're gonna stream this game again. As you can see, even Chatfish is surprised. He didn't expect it. He's like, oh.
Keep streaming Helldivers again?
Yes.
Impossible.
So we're gonna raid into our Helldivers 2 stream. Thanks for joining us for this little conversation. I expected chat to be a little bit more
Competitive.
not as competitive, but a little bit more like having different opinions, I guess. But you guys didn't. We're all kind of on the same page. I'm kind of surprised. Normally that doesn't happen. Normally you guys normally have various opinions and we all disagree on things. But when this happens, it happens. Chatfishies swim together like a school of fish, I guess. So we'll see you guys in the Helldivers 2 stream. For those of you who do not follow us over there, I will never forgive you. I will cry about it. I'll complain about it in the stream, and I'll make it someone else's problem. Yep. So know that you will be affecting someone in a negative way. So yeah, have a hard time sleeping with that information. I hope it bothers you.
Will be sad.
All right, Chad. We're going to continue this conversation over there. Thank you for joining us for this little bunch cast this week. And yet again, chat, thank you for helping us reach the weekly goal. I appreciate your support. It helps me work on my dream project, and I couldn't do it without you guys. It means a great deal to me, boys. So we'll see you in the next Discord, Chatfish.
Discord?
Or next stream, you know what I mean. Meh.